Okay, so I am back with a sort of part B because there were some things in the previous video that I wanted to point out, but because the videos can only be 10 minutes long, I thought I will make a part B video to go along with it. And I wanted to focus on uh, one part of that video in the note where they said both the wild horse and a wild or natural N-word is dangerous even if captured, for he will have a tendency to seek his customary freedom, and in doing so might kill you in your sleep. So there are a couple of things. First of all, in order to justify in themselves what they were doing to Africans, they had to separate them, to distinguish them as others and not good others, bad others. As a matter of fact, the Opaques didn't see many others that were good beside them. But anyway, they wanted to distinguish the African as a threat, put him in the category of an animal rather than a human being, and an untamed animal who was dangerous. And even if captured, he said, they were dangerous. And here's the one thing that he said: for he will have a tendency to seek his customary freedom. So that right there says that Willie Lynch and the others that were involved with this knew that it was natural for Africans to want to be free. They said customary. Something that is customary is something that is accepted, something that is done routinely all the time. So they knew what they were doing was taking the freedom away from Africans. And the other thing was, he said, in doing so, he might kill you in your sleep. That was said to impress upon other Opaques or their families or their children, maybe who would not have been so accepting of these methods that he was using, or this method that he was using, so that he could send the message that we're just trying to protect you because this is a dangerous animal who might come in your house and kill you in your sleep. And he said they're dangerous near the family house. All right, so they weren't dangerous. Now, would they defend themselves? Yes. Would they protect their own? Absolutely. No less than the Opaques will. But they were human. Africans are human beings, and they had to make a distinction between them and the Africans. So they had to paint them in a different light with a different picture. And then they said that they had to be broken, which was part of, and we will get into that later, part of the method that would just really dehumanize the Africans. And it said that you had to break them from one form of mental life to another, and to keep the body and take the mind. So they wanted to break them psychologically, and they did that through physical torture, no less. But they needed to keep, to break them so that they could keep them where they could still be strong enough to do the work, but the psyche would be so depleted that they would just not put up any fight. And again, we'll get into that part later. And then the other part was that they wanted to teach them not to resist. That was the main thing. Don't resist, so that they could use them whenever they wanted, for whatever they wanted, So they were breaking their will to resist. And so those were a couple of things that I wanted to point out in the last video that I ran out of time to do, but I thought it was important to just make a part B to go along with that first part. All right, thank you so much for, again, because this time I took more time, but thank you so much for coming back. I want us to know. I want us to know and be sure of what happened. Our people perish for lack of knowledge. So we're going to know so that we have the tools to better ourselves beyond, and that this type of thing will never happen to Africans again. Peace and blessings. Love you. See you next time. Stay woke.